YouTube has been saying recently that they're making it easier for small creators. But right now, you're getting fewer views than ever, and it's not your content or your consistency like everyone else likes to talk about. There's a real reason this specific window feels harder than everything else. And once I show you what it is, it's gonna make complete sense. And I'll give you the exact moves to push through it. I mean, this is not a hype video that plays on your emotions like the other guys do. This is real information that can transform how you play on YouTube. Look at this chart. Look at what happens every single year on January 1st. So most creators are going to see this and then they're going to move on. But once you understand what it actually means for your channel right now, you can't unsee it. So CPM is cost per milli, which is what advertisers pay YouTube for every 1,000 views to show their ads on your videos. So it peaks every Q4. So you have October, November, and December, because that's when advertisers spend their annual budgets before the year ends. But that's also the time that they bring in the most profit overall. So it incentivizes most businesses to spend way more on ads during Q4. It happens in both my product and service businesses for the last 12 years, like every single year. So then January hits and it falls off a cliff, like every year. It's the same pattern. Advertisers pull back, then there's less money in the system, and your content is competing for ad dollars that basically aren't there. The second thing to understand is that YouTube is a business, and it's a profit maximizing one. So in January, they have less ad revenue to work with, so they're going to push the content categories that make them the most money right now. Not because your content is worse, but rather your niche might be worth less to advertisers in that specific window. The algorithm isn't neutral, like it follows the money. It always has. But here's what I haven't shown you yet. So because CPMs are only the first layer, so YouTube's own analytics team has documented something that makes this even more specific to your channel. So Rachel works on YouTube analytics. She's not a creator. She's not a course seller, like someone who actually works inside YouTube on their analytics team. Like she made a video specifically about this. So YouTube's own team is telling us that CTR and watch time are not the only things determining how many people see your videos. Like there are external factors. She showed two types of seasonality. The first is audience level. So how many people are on the platform at different times of the year. The second is topic level. Which audiences are watching which topics and when. Now look at this. During summer, the viewership is smooth, it's consistent, and it's predictable. But then mid-August hits, then the line goes jagged. Every week is unpredictable. You have up and down. What changed? The audience schedule changed. Like school started. Younger viewers got busier. They can't watch consistently anymore. So the algorithm can't serve your content to them consistently. The algorithm didn't change. The audience left. Of course, this doesn't apply to all channels. So don't tell me in the comments, well, my channel doesn't behave like this. I know, but we have to take this into account. I don't know about you, but I like to be a student of the market to be aware. Of course, we can't control the market, but we can control how we show up with our videos. Now look at this one. These are fitness channels. And look at what happens every single January 1st. They spike, and it happens at the same time every year for 3 years straight. The reason is pretty obvious when you think about it, like New Year's resolutions. People decided they wanted to get fit and started watching fitness content, right? The platform didn't change. The algorithm didn't change. The audience just shifted what they wanted to watch, and the algorithm had no choice but to follow them there. So fitness creators right now or in January were having the best month of the year, while creators in other niches are wondering what happened to their views, and they're all on the same platform using the same algorithm. It has nothing to do with how good you are. It's about what your audience is doing right now. So the real question is, what time of the year is it for your niche? Okay, so I want to give you some context on why I see this differently than most people in this space. Outside of YouTube, I've sold millions of dollars worth of products across different categories. Some move consistently year-round, and others spike hard in Q4 and around the holidays because people buy them as gifts or for award ceremonies. I didn't read about this. Like I lived it. Like I made decisions running real operations where being wrong didn't mean a bad video. It meant millions of dollars on the line. I mean, that's a different kind of education than spending 10 years trying to crack the YouTube algorithm and calling it business experience. I mean, when I started paying attention to YouTube the same way that I pay attention to my product sales cycles, like everything started to make more sense. So it's the same cycle I've watched in my product businesses for years. Q4 is always the peak, January is always the slowest, Q2 picks back up, and then Q3 dips again depending on your niche. So once you know that's just how it works, you stop freaking out every time your views drop and you actually start planning around it. Okay, so Google filed a patent. So it's called information gain. Originally designed for Google search, but the same principle is visible on how YouTube handles content promotion. So the core question it's designed to answer is simple. Does this add anything new? So here's what that means in practice. If your video covers the same conclusions, the same angles, and the same takeaways as videos already performing that topic, it's going to face a promotional wall. Not because it's a bad video, because from the algorithm's perspective, it already has 10 videos saying the same thing, and yours needs to clear a higher bar to get pushed. If your content doesn't add something new, a different angle, a perspective that nobody else has, information that fills a gap that the other videos don't, the algorithm has less reason to push it over what's already performing or working. And of course, there's always exceptions, but I'm not talking about those. Now look at this pattern. So views come in, then they go flat. I'm talking completely flat. They could be a week, it could be 3 weeks. So most creators hit this and they think they failed. They didn't fail. The algorithm ran an experiment, it measured the response, and then it paused before running the next one. So in between those experiments, nothing. You're gonna get a flat line and you don't know when it's gonna restart. So Dave Geltema calls this the valley of death. So this is where you're gonna quit right before the next experiment's gonna start. So 3 things are hitting at the same time right now. You have CPMs at their lowest point of the year, especially the months of January and February. So your niche is potentially in its slow season. And if your content isn't clearing the information gain bar, you're also up against videos that already own that topic. All of it's real, and some of it eventually passes, but now you know exactly what you're dealing with so that you don't just quit when it gets slow or it gets hard. Most videos about the algorithm end right here. They give you an explanation and they leave you with it. But I'm not going to do that because the creators who actually win are doing something specific right now. And I want to show you exactly what it is. So everything I've shown you is real and none of it's your fault. But here's the part that's on us. Now that we know that these forces exist, what we do next is our decision. So the algorithm is influenced by 2 things, money and the audience. You can't control what advertisers spend right now. You can't change YouTube's CPM cycles, but you can control how well you understand your audience, where they are, what they want, and when they want it. Okay, and there are 3 specific things that creators are doing right now that are still letting them break through during the slow months. So the first is the content wall. So Nate Black documented this. So instead of uploading 1 video at a time and waiting for the algorithm to test it, you can upload 3 or more long-form videos simultaneously after a strategic pause of at least 1 month. The algorithm has to test all 3 at once. So then they cross-pollinate, so traffic from one feeds the others, so you can compress the experiment phase. So in a slow season, when the algorithm runs fewer experiments, you can give it more surface area to work with all at once. And then the second is niche bending. So vidIQ documented this recently in one of their videos. You probably saw it. So your niche is 2 things. So it's the market and the format. So most creators stay locked in the same format everyone else is using in that niche. So niche bending means you take a proven viral format from somewhere else, from another niche, and you apply it to your market in your niche. So why does this matter for information gain specifically? So if you bring a format that the algorithm hasn't seen in your niche before, then you clear the saturation problem automatically. So that information isn't new, but the delivery creates a genuine gap. So that's a different kind of gain than adding new data, and it works. And the third is audience intelligence. You want to know what your audience is actually looking for right now in your niche. And this is simpler than it sounds. So you just go to Google Trends and then you type in the main topic of your next video and you look at the demand curve. Is it going up? Is it flat? Is it dropping this month? Because if the demand for that topic is falling right now, people probably aren't going to be clicking on it either. And you can also use vidIQ to find outliers that are currently trending. And no, I'm not promoting their software. So you need to specifically pay attention to the videos that currently have a high views per hour, since those are the videos that people are watching right now. So you want to build your content around when your audience actually wants it, not just when it's convenient for you to upload. So most creators treat Q1 like something just to get through. They post and they hope that it gets better in Q2. What we just covered is completely different. While everyone else is guessing, we actually know what's happening and why. And the longer you operate this way, the further ahead you'll get from everyone else who's still guessing. But I need to be honest with you about something. And some people are going to like this part. So the audience decides what they want to watch and when, not us. We don't get to decide if our content is good enough or if our format is working. They tell us every single upload. If people aren't clicking, they don't like the packaging. If people are clicking but leaving early, they don't like what's inside. I mean, that is the most honest feedback you'll ever get. So if we take everything in this video and we understand all of it, and then still go back to posting the same content in the same format on the same schedule, that's not a YouTube platform problem anymore or an algorithm problem. That's on us. And we don't get to complain about the views. So the creators who are actually going to win are going to treat their channel like a real business. They're going to look at what the audience wants at different times of the year. They're going to time their content walls, if they make them, for when the algorithm starts opening up again in Q2. They're going to change their format when the current one stops working. They're going to keep going when the views flatline because they know an experiment is coming. So that's what we're doing. The passion is yours to protect, but the audience comes first. I mean, that's just the reality of this. And now you know which one you can choose to be. If you want to understand why your best video only got 166 views while a worse one blew up, then you need to watch this.